You're right. It is a beautiful day out there. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the final days here of the month of February. I'm wave meteorologist Brian Good. I hope you guys had a good weekend. It wasn't too bad, right? I mean, I know Saturday was cold. I didn't see the flurries myself. Every time I went to go look, they were literally like 5 miles to the east of me. But I saw a lot of reports and a lot of your social images. I appreciate that, of the snow showers that are around. Hope it's not the last we see of the snow of the season, but it may be the last. We'll see. More on that coming up in a minute on the longer term. Why there's much to cover. Hold on. Got another spammer. Somebody new. It's Dorothy today. All right. Get rid of Dorothy real quick. Travis, stay away from the buttons. All right. Gotcha taken care of. All right. I see your comments already, Cameron. I see you as well. Everyone's ready to dive in about this setup for the next couple of days. Now, what I'm going to share with you all is where do we stand on the pieces of all this, because this has got to be looked at as a puzzle. When you sit down, pieces all over the place, right? We got to start matching up the corners now, color, shapes, all that kind of stuff. Everything gets matched up, and then we start putting everything together to see exactly what unfolds and what the main image will reveal. We're to that point now. We're able to start piecing this together. So I'll be able to give you a better idea of what we're watching. And to keep the puzzle analogy going, there will be one or two pieces that will be missing because the dog took them and hid them somewhere in the house, and we're going to go find them. So that will still be the issues that we'll have to work out on Wednesday, of those missing pieces that we'll hopefully find in time to complete the entire puzzle line. All right. Everyone seems good. All right. As your comments, Jeffrey, yeah, we're getting ready. Adam, yes, it may be a little rough, a little to the north, perhaps. Okay, I don't want to get into my detail. Let me get in detail without eating the map. So let's get right into it. Let's start with the good news, right? 76 today. 76. That would at least tie the record set back 24 years ago that had temperatures again in the 70s. We were at record warmth, by the way, last year near this time. In fact, it is the top three warm Februaries for Louisville since records have been capped. Last year is the number 3 spot. The way this month is going, it's already in the top 10. So I got a feeling maybe top 5 and could try to bump out number 3 spot. So that's 2 Februaries back to back with warmer than usual weather. So the plus side is this: you get a chance to enjoy it. Bad side, you know what I'm going to say on this one. Bad side is the faster start to the lovely allergy season. Yeah. Congratulations. That's what you want. Okay. So 68 degrees in Louisville, or 68 in Louisville now. I'm not sure what the new number is. Let me see if I can get a dial on the sensor at the airport. It's about to update in about 6 minutes anyway, but hey, sometimes it's fun to check and see. Let's see if I can pull that up. I know we have got 70 in Hardinsburg at the moment, and we have what was the other 7? There's 3 of them, actually. Hardinsburg, Litchfield, and Fort Knox are all coming in right now at the 70-degree mark. I thought I had it listed here, but I don't see it on my initial buttons, but I will find it. Either way, I can just wait as well. It'll come in here very soon. Got a feeling it's going to be awful close to 70. It's the reason why I put 76 in for forecast. Good chance to get to that level for 76. And you know what? The record tomorrow is 75. even lower record, right? By 1 degree, but still a lower record. Clouds and some showers, maybe a thunderstorm could try to interrupt tomorrow's skyline and warming process. But still, even with that, it's possible. I am not going for that level yet. Still in the 70s, but not quite to that level of record. But if the showers miss us or we get more sun than expected, yep, tomorrow could be another a record breaker. You see right now, there's nothing to really block the warming, right? Clear. And we've got a southwest wind. Everything's on track. Dry air is at play. So we're warming up fast and steady here. And it's not even 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So we still got plenty of warming to go. Another good 4 hours. Some high-level clouds to the south. That's really about all she wrote there. The wider view does show a couple of things. First off, look how fast the jet is already starting to kick in across the plains. You see the clouds racing in that area there across the panhandles of Texas and Oklahoma, heading right into the Ozarks. That is the jet that is ramping up quickly. This is all low-level clouds, fog, moisture, humid. I love where you always see it because it's flowing right up the Mississippi Delta all the way through the Mississippi Valley, and eventually in the Ohio River valleys where that flows. You'll see in a second. It's that low-level moisture. It's getting pulled in. Doesn't fly over the terrain very well, so it flies with the terrain to the north. The first round usually can do that. And then we get into the storm system to the west. It's two pieces still. The one that's moving in about Baja Peninsula and one digging from the west. They still look like there will be phasing, but the phasing happens more over here, not so much west of us. And because of the offset that we're seeing on that will hopefully cut down on this being an even bigger severe potential than what it already is showing up. And as it looks now, it's nothing record-breaking, but it is certainly attention-getting. But if that was a little more of a phased scenario that we were facing, which it's unlikely now that's going to be the case, now that we're this close, but that's a good thing. It'll taper down some of the severe threat, but still, even with just the northern branch, it is quite the system rolling through the area. You can see the moisture increasing, by the way, over the next 12 hours, right along the valleys, the river valleys themselves, all the way from Mississippi, all the way to the Ohio River Valley, kind of just pulling that moisture right into a spot where the first round of severe weather will take place. And that is not associated with what I'm talking about for late Tuesday and Wednesday. I'm talking about later on tonight and early tomorrow is where that severe risk would be. Roughly Ohio, Indiana. It does include a few of our counties north of Louisville for Jackson, Jennings, Scott, and Jefferson. You guys are included in that. However, so far, everything I've looked at, it's looking to be right along the warm front itself. As it gets established there across the upper portions of the Ohio Valley, that's a spot to watch for more action as far as hail more than anything. It's why that outlook was issued. Not so much for tornadoes or damaging winds. It's mainly for hail. I think you'll be at the beginning stages. You may get some showers out of it later on tonight, but more so toward early tomorrow morning. Remember, when you look at these outlooks from the Storm Prediction Center, they do these in long ranges, right? Roughly like a 7 a.m. If it's a full day, it's a 7 a.m. to 7 a.m. type of setup from one day to the next. And then when you get it within 2 days, they can break it up a little more. About every 4 to 6 hours, you'll get some updates. But in this particular setup tonight, we'll have another update, probably, I would say about 3 o'clock today, we'll have another update on this event coming in for later on. But again, mainly to the north, this is a warm front scenario, has nothing to do with us. Sorry, I get rid of another spammer on there. Okay, so let's move on to the main outlook that came out for the day tomorrow, which again, this is going from 7 a.m. tomorrow to 7 a.m. Wednesday. So you have to look at the entire map as also a clock in a way. If it's 7 a.m. Tomorrow morning, then this will likely be the spot you will likely see the first rounds of showers and storms, Illinois and Missouri, maybe parts of Indiana. If it's 7 a.m. is the end time, then it's likely going to be the Ohio River Valley and then parts of even into Pennsylvania and West Virginia and Eastern Ohio. So you have to look at it as a time frame left to right as well. Doesn't always work, but in this case, it's fair to go with that, as the outbreak or the outlook on this will indicate which time of day you will likely see this. And anytime you're on the southern or the eastern edge of a storm prediction center outlook, it indicates you're one of the last to see whatever's coming our way. Now, that usually works in our favor, right, being the last ones, because that also tells us that if it's coming our way and we're on the edge, that means it is 7 a.m. the next day. And it's usually a time when you do not have a lot of fuel taking place at 7 a.m. in the morning. So this will indicate severe weather that breaks out and then weakens as you get closer to the early morning hours of Wednesday. This started to show up last week. That trend has held fairly steady with this one. So what about the threats with it? And I'm going to get into exact timing in just a second. So hang tight. Hopefully I get through all this and I've answered your questions before you have a chance to ask them. So hang tight for me. All right. Here's a closer look at the slight risk that only just barely clips Orange County, Lawrence County. You would be in it, and the northwest side there of Jackson County, Indiana. Don't get too focused and drawn too much on the actual definitive line where these are placed. These wobble a bit, and the weather does not follow lines like that. So there will be just a gradual weakening trend. Best thing to get from that. They did extend it. The update just came in about 10 minutes ago, and they moved the marginal risk line from Mount Washington to the other side over to Marion County and Springfield in Kentucky. So they did move it slightly, and it's only because they're feeling this is still going to move just a bit faster on getting to the 7 a.m. cutoff window. Roughly in that area. So that should tell you that if you're in those counties, that the storms will likely be around your area at 7 a.m. since you're on the edge of the outlook. There is no outlook. There was for a while an additional outlook that would start at 7 a.m. Wednesday and continue on for the other half of this event. They took that out, but they could place it back in. It's possible, but there's always a gap. When you have weakening storms that move through, they can either fall apart quickly and then redevelop a good 150 miles or so to the east, depending on the time of day, or they will hold together and weaken and stay weak and weak and weak, and then they just get stronger and still in their same shape as being a line. They power back up again and become severe. But there is usually a gap that happens, and that gap is likely somewhere in this area of Kentucky. We will have a quiet period before they may have a chance to go back up to strong thunderstorms later Wednesday afternoon. So the idea here is they're everywhere located north and west of Louisville, especially. You're going to be more into the intense probability on some of these storms, but everyone's about got the same idea on severe weather on this one. This is not a top 10 severe weather outbreak, not a top 20. This is nothing record breaking that we're looking at. This is a spring severe weather episode. Timing is just not good because a lot of people will be venturing out in this. So we're trying to keep you on the up and up on the timing on that as you venture out with the kids in the morning on Wednesday and head to the bus stop. Just gonna be messy on the roads there as far as travel. Now this is going to move fast, as you'll see here in a second. So that's good. Your tornado potential. Where's Ashley? Is she in here? Your tornado potential is it's not very high, and it's a little odd that they stopped it there. See why they did it, because they're betting on the idea that individual cells that will be forming through the day, individual cells have a better chance to rotate than they do when they are forced into a line. But anytime you get a line of severe thunderstorms, always say, look for the wiggles, right? Anytime you get a wiggle in that line, you can get an embedded tornado. They are usually weak and very, very brief when that happens. I think that is still going to be possible for really much of the area as that line moves through. But trying to forecast that in advance is very, very difficult. We've already seen it twice in the past 6 months. And even just a couple of weekends ago, we saw it took place where we had a couple that did wiggle. We ended up with 2 or 3 tornadoes out of that from Indiana into Henry County into Kentucky. So you got to watch that because they're very hard to detect on radar until the very last minute. So it's hard to give them a heads up. And with this being a early morning, late night, early morning event, just be on guard for that potential. I want you guys to get off guard if you hear suddenly an alarm goes off with a tornado warning. You're like, oh no, everything's going off the trail kind of thing here. Is just not good. No, it's not. Everything is expected in that sense that it could happen. It's not the highest of the threats though. Straight line wind potential is more of an issue, especially with it forming into a line. You get these little bowing segments that look like backward C's that push out. You can get some cases of very strong wind gusts. Again, the wind fields aloft over 70 miles per hour. So if those winds could be tapped into and pushed down to the tree line or below, that's when you run into damaging winds and you get a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings that get issued in that case. Now, hopefully we can get what we call elevated thunderstorms, at least for these to become elevated as they cross over into our area during the wee hours of your Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, to allow for them to struggle to get the wind down past the tree line. But our terrain, the way it's laid out, that risk isn't always the same everywhere. So you have to always account for the idea there could be damaging wind gusts that can get down to the ground level. And again, this is an early look at these kind of detailed maps as we were talking about later tomorrow night into Wednesday. So this may all change tomorrow. We're on the blog, but here's where we are now. Hail potential. Not seeing a huge hail threat. You can get a lot of pea-sized hail, certainly with the cells. Your bigger hailstones are going to accompany where you get the black hatch lines there. That's going to be where the warm front is located at that moves in tonight into Ohio and Indiana. It'll stay basically in that spot. And anywhere along there, it's a classic setup to get very large hailstones to form. And that's going to be mainly north of I-70 that we're looking at out of our area. But we could get some smaller stones, but I'm not anticipating a lot of hail with us in our particular outlook at severe weather, just because it'll be more linear as it moves on by. All right, so let's get into Futurecast. All right, got you all the way up through 4 in the morning Wednesday. 4 in the morning Wednesday. This is what is interesting on this, our in-house models, because some develop the thunderstorms to the northwest and then push them through. And some, like what this particular model is doing, develop the new cells right along the Ohio River. Like the Ohio River is the initiating point. Boy, that's going to make it really tough on timing, guys. Really, really tough to pick out timing when you've got to figure out where they'll begin to pop and then go from there. It's a lot easier when they're on the radar into Illinois and Indiana, Missouri, and all we have to do is track that on a time scale, and you'll know almost down to the hour when they're going to arrive in your backyard. These will be a challenge for us because you may go to bed, you may not see a whole lot out there on the radar, but suddenly 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, boom, they begin to pop, and it may pop right over us. It'd be nice if it pops south of us. I doubt it, but it'll be very close to the Ohio rivers where they should pop. Once they do initiate and develop, that's when they will have their hail potential initially will be found, heavy rainfall as well. Notice the temperature at that point, not too far away from 60 at 4 o'clock in the morning, or 70, I should say. Very warm start to the day on your Wednesday. Advance this. Now we're getting into about 7 o'clock in the morning. Louisville at that point in the clear. Indiana in the clear. This is the frontal portion of showers and storms now back here. This line has formed ahead of it. So even though you got yellows and reds over Louisville and Indiana, you're out of the severe risk. This is now the main spot to watch near the capital, Marion County, all the way into LaRue, and then Greene, Taylor, and Adair, that whole southeast section of Kentucky. And this is at 7 o'clock in the morning. By the way, the Louisville's temperature, notice we were at 67, now we're at 52. All right, I'm going to advance in another frame. Let's go to about 10 a.m. At 10 a.m., the severe threat for thunderstorms over completely for all of you. We're done. It's now in far southeast Kentucky. Now we're all about the temperature drop. Still some strong gusty winds, temperatures in the 30s, and it's only 10 o'clock in the morning. So that's a good 30 to 35 degree drop in just a few hours as this line of storms moves through. I saw that, I think St. Louis, they're expecting to go from 86 degrees to 21 when their front goes through over about a 10 to 12 hour window. So not in 1 hour, that'd be insane, but a 12-hour window, 86 to 21 is what St. Louis is expecting. So this is impacting a lot of people, this big temperature drop, which, by the way, yes, it can produce some snow if the cold air can catch up to it. I don't see it happening here. I think it's going to be more of like Eastern Kentucky area, just because the timing of day will work in their favor. Getting back to sunset, they may get maybe a burst of snow at the back edge of it. If you saw, maybe back the frames up, if you saw initially when it was moving through, there were a couple of hints right there where it tries to catch up because it's early in the morning. So it's already trying to catch up with the rain portion of this into Perry County and Crawford County, but then it loses it because at that point we're past sunrise, we're getting to the max warming of the day, and therefore it loses it. But as we get into the evening, it's possible it could come back. Otherwise, just cold down into the 20s as we head into the nighttime hours there of your Wednesday night, early Thursday. Very cold compared to what the day will be. Breaking down the threats, again, nothing is at a 3 or higher on the scale. Got a few that are 2. I mean, they're elevated. The wind, hail, flooding potential. Flooding potential was actually almost at a 4 level when I was looking at this last week, just because it looked like they would develop and then redevelop, and there's kind of a training effect that would just keep repeating. I don't see that today. Everything looks to be moving very fast. So that's good. Bad on wind damage now, because now they're moving fast. Your wind damage potential goes up, but your flooding potential goes down. So give and take. Your tornado potential is actually the lowest of all of them, but it's there. I didn't take it off. I think it needs to be on there. but I don't see it being the major catalyst to this. It's really going to be about the forward momentum of the line itself producing severe. Now, what could change here? Well, a couple of things. For one, if, say, this modeling is wrong, and a few of them have the same storyline here, and what if this batch of storms does not develop right on top of us? What if it were to indeed develop north of here into the Wabash area of Indiana? We would then increase the severe potential, I believe, for areas across Indiana and along the Ohio River for damaging winds. That threat will go up closer to about 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning. That would be one thing that would be changed. And two, to be devil's advocate, what if the line of storms does not form until it's south of even Louisville or maybe even south of the parkways? What if it develops a little closer to, say, Marion County and Greene County? Not that we wanted to pop right over you all, but what if it does? Well, that means a lot of you would miss the severe risk out of this. You would be too far north, and you would just deal with some showers and the falling temperature. So that's the only part that keeps us in a low confidence scenario on severe weather in this setup, is that it's not a typical one to gauge by here. We normally just have a squall line that forms out west and we track it, or the storms pop early in the day and then move east, whatever the case may be. This one's a bit odd. It's got its own weird personality to it, to where we may have a mix of cells during the day across Illinois, Indiana, into Ohio that will likely lift in that area. I think it's going to be just a clean sweep for many of our southern Indiana, Kentucky counties until there's a trigger, and that trigger is the cold front. And once that gets closer to us, then they should pop. But when and where, that's going to be our challenge. I'm hoping in the next 24 hours, we'll be able to get enough solid data on that to really keep that line from wiggling so much and keep it relatively steady on where it will likely develop. And therefore, you guys have a better idea on timing. All right. Type 431, if that all made sense. I'm hoping that it did, because I know it's a lot to digest. Let me get back to the parameters again to bring those out. Everyone good? Let's see. Ashley, you're here. Thanks, Ashley. Jeremy, any more snow this winter? Somewhere in the United States, yes. Hi, Lori. I hope you're doing well, Lori. All right. Let's see. Everyone looks fine. 431. Everyone's good. Everyone's good. All right. Fair enough. Again, there's not a whole lot of new info to pass along, just some of the minor stuff that we were watching, and of course the Storm Prediction Center outlook. So considering this was an outlook and potential that showed up a good 8 to 10 days in advance, is pretty good on modeling to sniff that out. It's these finer details, though, of placement that impacts the size. The hailstone impacts whether you're going to see a tornado or not. Those little finer details, which a lot of you want to know, we're now entering the phase where we can start answering that. We've already been able to answer some of those today, but we'll get more answers in the next 24 hours. All right. So I know it's been a frustrating system. I think overall, if you can deal with the wind and the rain, and we get little wind damage or anything out of this, which would be great. I think the biggest thing everyone's going to talk about all day is that you left for work and school, you're 70, and by lunch you're already in the 30s, and I don't think it's going to warm much. You're likely still be around 38 to 41 when you come home on Wednesday. So Wednesday's a day to make sure that you've got everything with you that you need for your outfits for the day to be ready, because there's going to be a very changeable setup from morning to night, especially after the next couple of days. You're very much a spring setup for weather. This cold snap is going to be a bit of a reality check moving in as we head into, I think it's the leap. Is it the leap day, or is that Thursday? I think it's Thursday's leap day. All right. I'm going to quit rambling. I'm going to go in and start working on some of the data rolling in for the afternoon now, so we can get a better focus on the timing of the temperature drop. And then we got another system toward next weekend that I need to look at on timing there. And then I haven't had a chance to do a whole lot of long range as of late. I apologize. It's been a little bit hectic here lately, but I will try to get to that very, very soon and talk a little more about the month of March in future updates. All right. I'll leave it there for now. It's enough rambling. And I will see you guys. Let's see, what time is it? Actually, I'll be on the air in about 40 minutes with Myra with the TV update. And then, of course, the wave news at 3 o'clock. Okay, see you then.